Hi, welcome to Vector Bliss. So in the last video I promised you that I will talk about the scale action, if you remember. So let us look at the scale action. But in my previous video I was talking about point parameter. So I think you guys would have tried a scale parameter on the point parameter, but it would not have worked. So that is the first thing. Let us look at that quickly. So let me just create a block here, just another rectangle at say 1 it's a square. Okay, now select that block definition, give a name for that, pick point here, open in block editor, hit OK. Now we are here and here is the authoring palette. Let me go to the parameter, and if I put a point parameter here and if I try to add a scale action, obviously I cannot do that, because when I select this, it says here it requires either a linear parameter or a polar parameter or an XY parameter. These are the three parameters which can be associated with the scale action. So let us look at the linear parameter today. So this tutorial is about linear parameter. So let us put a linear parameter here. It is just like you are doing a dimension. So click on this linear parameter and provide a first point, second point, and place the label wherever you want. Now as usual, you can see this exclamation mark here says that there is no action associated with it. So let us try the scale action first. So I can obviously add this move action or scale action or struts action with this linear parameter, but let us look at the scale action first. So if I click on the scale action and select the parameter, then it is asking me to select the selection set, specify the selection set. So in my selection set I have this rectangle, so I will pick this rectangle. It is similar to select objects. So then press enter key. Now this action is there associated with this parameter. Now let us see how it works. Now I am closing this, save changes, yes, select this. I can see these two grips. I can pull it either towards my right side or left side. So when I click this and drag, you can see it is getting scaled up or down. But when I pull this grip, you can see it is going away from this base point. Now, so that's how it is getting scaled up or down based on the value you provide for the linear parameter. So if you select this block and go to the properties and check this distance 1, that is the parameter what we have put there, the linear parameter, and the value right now is 3.9. so let me make it 1 again, and you can see it has been scaled down to the original position, which was original length, which was 1. But all these went for a toss, all these grips are not in place and all these problems are there. So why this is happening, let us look at it. Let me go to the block editor again. Before that, let me just reset this block. So when you reset a block, it goes to the initial position or initial size. So that is what resetting a block means. So when you select this block and go to the block editor, here for this scale action, for the linear parameter, I have this option. If I right click after selecting a linear parameter, I have this grip display here. This being the base point, actually this is the first point what I have shown when I was placing this. To be clear again, let me just delete this and once again put this parameter, linear parameter. So specifying the start point here and the end point here. So this was my start point, and the scale action tend to behave as if the base point for the scale is this. Now if I go to this action and associate scale action to this parameter and select this object enter, if you select this scale action, you can see there is a base type here, that is dependent is what it is selected now. Independent and dependent, two options are there. So what does it mean? If it is dependent, it is going to be based on the parameter base point. So if it is independent, you can specify, in fact, you can mention what base point you want. So that is what these options are. Okay, so here what is happening is, if I make it independent, then I know that this square is 1 by 1 unit length and 1 unit width. So suppose I want the scaling to happen exactly at this center. Then from the base point, I will be probably giving the value to be 0.5 and the base y to be minus 0.5, because these are values based on this point. So when I say that, you can see it is taking this base point of the block. So this should be obviously 0.5 here. So 0.5, 0.5. So taking this value from this base point of the block. Now if I close the block editor, save changes, then if I drag this, you can now see it is happening based on the point which I had specified there. So I can, in fact, actually I can redefine that point. So that is what the whole idea about having it independent. So if you make it dependent again, let me close this, go back to the drawing window, then you can see when I am pulling it, it is happening based on the base point of the parameter. So it is here. So the block base point is here. This is the parameter base point, because that is the point which I specified as the start point of the parameter. So that is one very important thing when you are dealing with this scale action. So it has got a base type, don't forget that. It has a dependent base type as well as an independent. Then other actions which you can associate with this linear parameter are the struts action. So let me quickly put a struts action here. So when you click on the struts action, and it will ask you to select the parameter. So I am selecting this parameter. Then it requires a base point, a point on the parameter, which point of the parameter you want to stretch, whether this point or this point. So as I move the cursor towards one of these points, you can see it is getting snapped there. So let me put the first struts action here. So I am just clicking somewhere here. Once I got the snap, I can just click there, so it will select that point. Then it is asking me to select a stretch window, a stretch frame, just like you are doing for normal struts action. So I will click one point here and next point here to specify a window. So whichever the portion which is coming inside this window is going to get stretched. So this window is specified now. Now it is asking me to select the object. So I am selecting this object, press enter key. Now you can see this action is associated with this distance parameter, but it is showing this because at this point nothing is there. No action has been assigned. Only for this point it is associated. So that is where the grip display comes. Now if I want the user to stretch only towards this endpoint, that means I don't want the user to pull this end. I want the user to pull this end only. So if that is the case, then I can select this parameter, right click, grip display is there. Now it is set to 2. That means it is going to display both the grips, but instead of that I can make it 1. So immediately you can see that grip at the start point of the parameter has vanished, and it is showing only the grip at end point of the parameter. So I can restrict it like this, so that the user won't be pulling towards this side. Struts action is now associated towards my right side only. So close the block editor, save changes, go back there, and now you can see this stretch action is stretching this rectangle. Yes, you can provide this distance also here, so you can type in the value for a precise value. Then going back to the block editor now, if I want, I can assign another stretch action here at this point. So before doing that, I can select this, and grip display I will turn it to 2 so that this grip also is visible. Then going to the action, stretch action, select the parameter, select the point, then show the window. Now this time I want to have only this much portion of the rectangle to be stretched. Then select the rectangle, press enter key. Now you can see 2 actions have been assigned, and I don't know whether you will be able to see it, but if I just move my mouse on top of these actions, you can see that window selection, the window where I specified the portion of the rectangle to be stretched, is visible now. You can see this. Okay, so 2 stretch actions have been assigned to this parameter. Now let us close this and save changes. Now you can see it can be stretched towards this side as well as this side. Both the sides can be stretched. Now if you see, the base point of the block is still lying there. I don't want this to happen. Suppose I want the base point to be here all the time. Then what I have to do is, that is where this base point parameter is there. Now using this, in the first video I think I have mentioned about this, by using this point you can redefine the base point of the block. So when I put this, when I click on this parameter here, and if I click here, you can see a point has been placed there, and that defines the base point of the block. So I am literally overriding the base point of the block. Now even after placing that, we are not yet done, because the stretch action which was associated at this point, that is what which is moving this side of the rectangle away from this base point. So what I have to do is, I have to associate this object, this base point object, also with this stretch action. For doing that, either 2 ways you can do this. Either I can just select this action, right click, action selection set, and I can say modify selection set. So this window, it is asking me to specify selection set for action, is what it is asking now. So I will choose this window once again with this point parameter coming inside that. Then I will select this rectangle as well as the point parameter. So now the point parameter is also selected. Close the block editor, save changes. Now you can see, if I stretch this, the base point is also moving along with that. So this side it doesn't have to happen. So we did not assign stretch action which was provided at this point. We did not assign that to the base point of the block. So if I go back to the block editor again, now what if I want to have this base point always at this midpoint? Then I have to first right click on this action, then action selection set, modify selection set, the stretch window I am showing, then I will say remove, right click and remove. I will remove this base point from that. Now this base point won't move if I stretch towards this side. Then what I do, I will select this base point, move it to this midpoint here. Now this has been placed here, but that doesn't do what we really require, because if I reset this block, you can see this base point is here, but when I am stretching, it is not at the midpoint of this side, it is sitting there. So to avoid that, what we have to do is, now that we need to add a move action to this. So if I go to this actions and a move action, I am associating that move action to this linear parameter at this point. I will click the parameter first, then the point here, then it is asking me to select objects. I will select this object, enter key. Now you can see this move action has been assigned. Then close the block editor and save changes and check. Now what is happening, as I move this, this is moving, still it is not at the center of, I mean the midpoint of the side. Okay, so let us go back to the block editor. What if I am pulling this grip? So if I am pulling this grip, still you can see this base point is not moving at all, because at this point of that parameter there is no action to control this base point. So what we need to do here is we need to add one more move parameter to this parameter, move action to this parameter at this point, then select this block, press enter. Now you can see two move commands, move actions are associated with this parameter at two different points. But one more last thing what you have to do to keep this base point exactly at this center is select this action, and this distance multiplier is there. This is 1 now, so whatever distance you are pulling this, it is going to move this base point exactly that distance. I don't want that to happen. Suppose I am pulling 1 unit this side, then this has to move only 0.5. It should not move the whole 1 unit. So that is where it will be keeping this base point exactly at the midpoint of this side. So if I select this, then I select this action, then I change this distance multiplier to 0.5, press enter key. Same you do it for this move action also, then make this value 0.5. Now close the block editor, save changes, then you can see now it is at the center, midpoint of the side. So if I am pulling it like this, you can see this is exactly at the midpoint of the side. If I pull this side also, it is sitting exactly at the midpoint. So this is what the linear parameter, this is how you assign actions to linear parameter. So see you in the next video. Thank you for watching.